Benvenuto! Welcome to Cherry Hill Home Cooking. My name is Mark. Today we're going to make fish pie. And what are we going to need for our fish pie? Well, it's a fish pie, so we need some nice fish. Now, you'll see I've got some haddock, I've got some salmon, and I've got some bay scallops. Now, you want about 2.5, 3 pounds of fish. This is maybe a little bit more, depending upon how far you want to stretch this dish, okay? Now, I just want to talk about the fish a little bit before we get too much into the recipe. Now, Wade's favorite fish is salmon. I don't particularly like salmon. I do love haddock and I do love scallops, which he likes both of those as well. Now, if you want, you can chop these into bite-sized pieces. I'm not going to chop them into bite-sized pieces because that way, you know, then you get mixed up and I'd have to be picking the salmon out and put it on his plate and so on and so forth. So this way, we'll have our salmon on one side and our haddock on the other side, and when I go to serve it, it'll be easy to serve. So if you did want to cut that into bite-sized pieces, also that will stretch it a little bit longer when you plate it. All right, so basically, what a fish pie is, mashed potatoes. All right, now we've done mashed potatoes. Wait, put a link on it. I've gotten to the point where I've, cooked them. We're going to throw them together because somebody gave me a ricer last year. Was it you, Matthew, or Lisa? I think actually I got 2 of them because somebody didn't buy it off the wish list. But anyway, I haven't used it. I got this for Christmas last year. I always wanted one. I don't know why I never got one, but I'm excited we're going to use that. All right, so basically fish pie is fish, mashed potatoes, and it's in a bechamel sauce. I do have some mixed, some frozen veggies in the fridge that I forgot to bring out, but we'll talk about those when we put them in. All right, so we're going to need so for our bechamel sauce, we're going to need some milk and we need some heavy cream, okay? We need some flour, all right? So, we're going to, in this case, we're going to use 3 tablespoons of flour and 3 tablespoons of butter, and we're going to make a roux, and then we're going to thicken this, the roux with our, on the stove with our milk and stuff. All right, now, as far as seasoning, before I go into that, the fish, you can use any kind of fish you want. You want to throw some shrimp in there, use all haddock, use all salmon, whatever your favorite fish is. You want about, like I said, about 2.5 to 3 pounds. This is closer to 3. All right, so as far as seasoning, I'm just going to use salt. I've got some white pepper. I'm going to put a little bit of Worcestershire sauce in there and just a little dash of accent because you all know I like that. But this is a good place where you can really kind of make this your own, all right? Todd, if you want to use your Creole seasoning, this would be a good place to use it. Or you can use some Obey. If anybody heard that burp, excuse me, I just burped. You could use some Obey seasoning. If you're going to experiment with either of those, or you could even just use some seasoning salt, I'd use them sparingly in the beginning, maybe 1/4 teaspoon as you're adding it, and then adjust it upwards because especially Old Bay can really become overwhelming. And of course, with the Tony's Creole, that can never become overwhelming. That's delicious. All right, and then we're going to need some garlic. Okay, so I've got 2 good size garlic cloves that I have peeled. And then we're going to use a shallot. I'm sure everyone has seen a shallot. Okay, a shallot. You remember shallots? The French chef used to use these a lot. So a shallot is an onion, right? Except it's really mild, okay? So the good thing about that is, especially with fish, if you use a really strong onion, it can very much overwhelm it. So you just peel off the first layer. It usually comes in 2 pieces like this. I don't need that little piece, so I'll use that for breakfast tomorrow. But then, with this, we're just going to slice this because we're going to chop it in the little food processor. So just cut it into some pieces. If you're not going to use the little food processor, mince that up pretty good. All right, we'll put it in there, and we'll throw the garlic in there as well. Now, if I remember correctly, this original recipe called for leeks. I love leeks. They're just a pain in the neck. There's a lot of prep in them and so on and so forth. So I've, over the years, changed that to the shallots. I don't think I need this anymore. We do need a casserole dish, okay? You can use it 9 by 13. All my 9 by 13s are in the freezer with stuff in them, so I'm going to use this one. As far as if you're using the 9 by 13, you just want to make sure that you've made enough mashed potatoes that you're going to be able to spread it all over the top. And I've done about 3.5 pounds of potatoes. All right, so we're going to put this all aside, and we're going to go on to our mashed potatoes, and then we'll take a break. We'll leave you for a minute, and we'll come back and finish up the bechamel sauce. But I want to experiment with our little ricer here. All right, so we're going to need a 1/2 cup of milk, whole milk. You could use, where's the 1/2 cup, right? Yeah. You could use 2%. I wouldn't use less than 2% because you want your potatoes to be nice and rich. All right, so we've got a 1/2 cup milk there. And I'm going to just cut these up into a couple little pieces. So my potatoes, of course, are all cooked. We got 3 tablespoons of butter here. And I'm going to just mash them or mix them up in the same pot I cooked them in. All right, let's try out our, excuse me, I got to get a spoon, a bigger spoon. Let's try our, what is this called? Potato ricer. My potatoes are still hot because I just made them. And they're on the floor. Let's put that one in there. All right, is that going to be too much, I think? Hey, there we go. And hey, that works nice. I like that. Now, of course, you could just mash these with a masher, or you could even put them in a mixer if you want. But I like that consistency. Excuse me. Get over here. Isn't this fun? The things that amuse me, huh? Ooh, I do like it. Probably, if I wasn't, of course, being watched and I could have both hands going here, it would come out a little bit better, but we'll use my stomach. It's big enough. So also we're going to put some cheddar cheese in here. That's optional. We've got about a 1/2 cup of cheddar cheese there. All right. That's going to be plenty. Give it a final. Yay!
A little link to that little gadget there.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. I mean, this is a. I think this is a. I think the French use this a lot in cooking. It's not a newfangled gadget, but I've always wanted one. I never had one. All right, we can put this over there. All right, and then we're just going to give this a mix. Oh, that makes a nice mashed potato. I'm going to just add a little pepper. I got white pepper just so, you know, it doesn't show up with all the little pepper flakes. I'm going to add a little bit of accent, a good pinch. And so the salt and pepper is to taste. All right, so that was a good couple pinches. We'll add our 1/2 cup of milk. We need that for later. And so you just want to then mix that up so that's all nice and creamy. That looks delicious. Of course, when I boil the potatoes, I used a little bit of salt. I'm going to give that a little taste. Delicious. All right, we can add our cheese in. So I just wanted to get this done. We'll recover it and put it aside because the bechamel sauce has got a couple of, takes a couple of minutes. All right, I'll put that over here. All right, we will be right back. I'm going to clean this mess up and we'll get on with our bechamel sauce. All right, guys, like I told you before, we got our potatoes done over there, just keeping warm. I mentioned that I was going to do some frozen vegetables. This is optional if you don't want to put any frozen veggies or whatever you like in there. This happens, I had some frozen peas and corn. Peas and carrots that I wanted to use. All right. The other thing I didn't mention before we left you guys is I got about a tablespoon of lemon zest. All right. So in our pan here, I've got our 3 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to turn that down a bit. So, and I want to chop up our garlic and shallots. Perfect. Okay. All right. So in here, we're making a bechamel sauce. I don't know if the recipe that we have on the channel that with the macaroni and cheese, I can't remember if I used the bechamel recipe for that. I make 2 different versions of mac and cheese. One of them is with the bechamel sauce. Also, sometimes when I make lasagna, I use the bechamel sauce as well. But, all right, so we've got about 3 tablespoons of our flour in there. And just like when you're making a roux, we want to get in there and stir it around. This really only takes a minute or so. You can get it a little bit brown if you want. I'm on medium. I'd say, about medium right now. And it really only takes a minute, too. As soon as you're going to start to smell it, it'll start to smell nutty, is the best way to describe it. And it really takes less than a minute, depending upon how hot your pan was. And this is always the way a bechamel sauce starts. This is going to take about 2 cups of milk and maybe a little bit of cream. So if you wanted to double this, or you were making a bigger batch, or even if you were making a bechamel sauce, so it's 2 cups of milk, 3 cups of butter, and 3 tablespoons of flour. That's about a standard recipe. So if you wanted to make double it, you'd do 4 cups of milk, 6 tablespoons of butter, 6 tablespoons of flour, right? Sounds about right. All right, so there we go. I can turn this up now because we're gonna add our milk to it. So you see it's nice and kind of, I don't know if they can see in that pan, but there's no more flour chunks. Everything is nice and, all right. Now, like I said, we're going to actually add some more milk to this, but we want to get this in and start stirring it around, and it will slowly start to thicken, hopefully. Now, you don't have to stand here constantly and stir it, but don't, as I've said many times before, don't go clean the bathroom while you're waiting for it. You want to keep a close eye on it. All right, we can put a little bit of salt. I'm going to just do a couple pinches. And we'll do some white or black pepper. And we'll start to. And I'm going to go up because you're watching me. Hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank you all for watching our little Thanksgiving hello and our thank you. We had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I made a really big turkey. I won't bore you all with the story as to why, but I think we ate the last of the... Sorry guys, we had a little technical difficulty there. Wade will fix it. But it might not seem 100% smooth, seamless. But okay, so I'm going to take that off the heat because we had that little difficulty. And I don't want it to burn. But you can see how that's gotten really thick. All right, now we're going to actually thin it down a little bit more. Why it's done that way? I don't know. That's just the way you do it. All right, so I'm going to make this a little richer. And I'm going to put a quarter of a cup of heavy cream. You can use milk. You can use your 2%. Do as I say, not as I do. This is a fish recipe, but no, it's not really a healthy, low-fat recipe. All right, let's put this back on there. Put some heat on there and add this in. All right, so we've got our oven set preheated to 375. That looks pretty darn good. We're going to put our onions, our shallots, and our garlic in there. Okay, let's continue to stir that. Now, I would say right now that this is about a really nice consistency. Now, just because we're doing this live, it might get a little bit thicker than I want. So as a possibility, I'll add some more milk to it. But right now, I'm going to turn this down. We're going to add our lemon zest. Give it a stir. And I'm going to add a few shakes of Worcestershire. Now at this point is where you'd put in your, if you wanted to do some other seasoning. All right, I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to add my peas and carrots in there. Again, that's optional. You could use a different vegetable if you'd like, or none at all. I think the original recipe didn't have any. And I think over the years I probably felt guilty because it was so high in fat that, oh, I'll add a little something good to it, right? All right, that is about done. Now, if you were going to chop up if you were going to cut your fish into little pieces, you could go ahead and do that now. Throw that in there. Just give it a little stir. You don't have to worry about it getting cooked at that point because it's going to cook in the oven. But that would heat the fish up a little bit, which is fine. All right, so we're going to get our very well buttered casserole dish. Now, again, if you would cut this up and you put it in the sauce, you just dump everything in there. But because now I've salt and peppered the top side, guys, so I'm going to put this bottom side down like that. And we'll put our haddock over here. And we'll sprinkle our scallops around. That's the white pepper in there that looks a little dark. All right. And I'm going to just sprinkle a little bit of pepper on top. And we'll do a couple little sprigs salt. And that looks like a lot, but that's kosher salt, and it's big kosher salt too, so. All right. And this mix around again. And we're just gonna pour this. I had that little spatula right on over our fish. And I just burped again. I don't think you could hear it, but just in case, because I had some soda right before we started this. Okay, we'll put that over there. Now, so our fish, our sauce, preheated oven, and our taters. Oh, I just want to eat these. All right, so what we're going to try to do, which this might not come out pretty because we're doing it, but we'll just gently plop some potatoes close to each other like that. Cheese looks good in there. It's getting a little melty. Oops. Now, if you didn't have somebody filming you while you did this, it looks pretty good to me. It would be perfect. I'm not saying it's not going to be perfect when I'm done with it, but just in case, you'll take a little bit more time than I'm probably going to take. Right, and then we're going to take a fork, and we're just going to try to spread it out. You know, a little bit of it's going to go down, but that's okay. And like I said, you can take as much time doing this as you want. Or, you know what, if you're really good at piping, you could put this into a piping bag and just pipe it on. I'm not that good with the piping bag. Wade's actually pretty good with it. I should have had him do this. Alright, so spread it out as much as you can. Make some crosses. That's going to bubble over anyway, so. Now the other thing with this, I've got a pretty deep dish, so I'm not going to worry about putting a dish under this. But if you were using a 9x13, I'd put this on a baking sheet, just so it doesn't mess up your oven. All right, guys, I think that's as good as I'm going to get it. We're going to take this, put it into our preheated oven. Wade likes you guys to see my dirty oven. I got it on the middle rack. It's a self-cleaning oven, but I don't ever use it. All right, so you want that to be, you want your bechamel to be nice and bubbly, and you want the top golden brown with like some little bit more than golden brown on the ridges on the top. And I'm going to say that's going to take about 40 minutes. Okay, set a timer for 40 minutes.
Sure, 40 minutes.
All right.
Starting now.
I'll take a look at it in about 35 minutes, see how brown it is. And if it's done, we'll take it out and show it to you guys. If not, we'll see you in 40 minutes. Okay, I came out. I checked on it at about 30 minutes. I definitely wanted it a little bit browner. I checked that at 35. I still wanted it a little browner. At 40, everything was nice and bubbling. But I think because of the thickness of the pan, it wasn't browning as fast as I wanted. So I did put it under the broiler for a few minutes. But anyway, it should take anywhere between, say, 40 and 45 minutes to get to the brown thickness you want. Alrighty. And that is it. You want it nice and golden brown, maybe some crusty pieces on the side. It's bubbling nice. Now, the choice is yours whether you let it cool down a little bit. I would say let it cool down a little bit, at least for a good 5 or 10 minutes. Especially our bechamel sauce will thicken up a little bit more as it cools down. If you try to go in there and scoop out a big piece now, you're going to just get soup. All right, we'll see you at dinner time. Okay, here we are again, and it's supper time.
Yep.
It smells delicious. The house smells delicious.
Oh, it does.
Well, let's dig in. You see, Wade's got all his salmon in there, or a lot of it.
Yep.
Got some scallops in there, and
That is delicious.
Let me check. You got a big piece of fish in it. Ooh, look at.
Wow.
Oh, there's a scallop right there.
That's awesome.
Wade loves fish. I
do.
think it tastes delicious too.
The sauce
The
came
salmon
out.
came out. The sauce is the sauce is
Came out.
delicious.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Came out
How's the
nice and
salmon?
creamy. Yeah. Salmon's good. Yeah.
It's all nice and flaky and well done and cooked through. Delicious.
That is so good. Thank you.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I hope you all have enjoyed making dinner with us tonight. I hope you try this recipe. It's an easy recipe. Looks like there's a lot of little steps, which there is, but it certainly is worth it, especially on a cold, wintry night.
Yep.
That's all I got to say. I'm going to eat.
Please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you on the next one.
Look at all that nice, beautiful brownness. Ciao.
Bye.